Hi, I'm Kate Rose. I'm your host at 21st Century Healthcare Consultants podcast, Home Care Today. I'm happy today to introduce you to somebody that I've looked forward to chatting with because she's in the field. She's come through it by the seat of her pants, perhaps at times she may share, and by divine inspiration, who knows. I'm going to chat today with Gertrude. And Gertrude, could you pronounce your last name for us?
Mageza.
Thank you so much. You are the owner of Purple Nurse Home Care. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what is Purple Nurse Home Care.
Well, Purple Nurse Home Care is, I started the company in 2020 at the during the height of the pandemic, which, as you can imagine, presented its own set of challenges. Um, so it started out as a completely non-medical home care agency, but with time, I wanted to become Medicare certified and saw an opportunity um, to be able to do this even at a non-Medicare level. So I reached out to 21st Century as consultants to help me understand that side of the business.
And there's a lot to understand, isn't there?
There is a lot. There is a lot.
Well,
If
Gertrude,
you work,
let me ask you, just because I'm sure that everybody's got a special reason, or a reason that's special to them. But what motivated you to start your own healthcare agency?
when everybody had to sort of work from home uh, in 2020, March 2020, when we had that massive lockdown, we were all unsure of whether we had any jobs or not. And it was a time that I think a lot of us did a lot of thinking. And some of the things that we used to do during that time, if you remember, was do a lot of Zoom socials, right? we, we would sort of have Zoom where we are having a cup of coffee with friends, and it was friends across the country or friends across the world. And one of my friends talked about a home care company that she had. And since I was working in healthcare at that time, it perked my interest, and I listened and I did a bit of discovery with some franchises in this space and decided that I'd rather be independent so that I could choose my own, I could really carry out my vision, so to speak.
And what was your vision, or what is your vision?
I love working with seniors. I'm the oldest of all the children in my family, so I was the first grandchild. So I was very close to my grandmother. So I have a special spot for seniors. So I felt that that's what I wanted to focus on. And I didn't want it to be limited to a territory or limited to a certain way of doing things. And so for me, a franchise wasn't going to work. I wanted to do it my way, be able to do things the way I felt they can be treated with all the dignity and respect, and also just just have your own sort of fingerprint on the business.
From the time that you started thinking about opening your own agency until the time that you actually launched, how much time would you say passed?
I would say it took me about 3 months to do some discovery work, and most of it was trying to find the right consultants, sitting on Zoom. The good thing is that because it was COVID, everything was on Zoom. So any meetings that I had with franchises or consultants was all over Zoom, and I could do it all day. And I think that's what actually made it a shorter um, sort of discovery period, because by about September, um, I was able to start my company and sort of put things together because everything was, done remotely and we had all this time. It was really a blessing.
I was going to say it's kind of like the silver lining in the cloud, as it turns out. Sounds like.
Yes, it really was.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced as you were starting your agency?
Some of the biggest challenges is really it's finding what sort of an agency you're going to be. There are
Mm,
so many agencies, understanding the industry itself and not wanting to learn it from um, I, I, w- I wouldn't say from my competitors, but wanting so much to understand the industry from a sterile point of view and be able to sort of bring your own personality and your own vibe to it. Mhm.
you wanted to be able to personalize it and let it reflect your values and your purpose and the way you saw
Yeah,
yourself and your calling at this particular time in your life.
yeah,
When you
absolutely.
started to do the discovery work that you did, and you probably, if you're like most folks, you probably realized early on that there was a whole lot that you didn't know. And what's the old saying? You don't even know what you don't know, right? So as you get
Yeah.
in, you uncover more and more of the things that you need help learning about and knowing how to proceed. You talk to probably several different consulting agencies. What was it about 21st Century Healthcare Consultants that you knew that y'all were going to be a good fit?
Um, it's actually very interesting. I actually Googled and quite a few consultant companies came up. And I did email quite a few, and I can't remember who they were, but I had a really good response from 21st Century. And I felt like when you're trying to start a business and taking it from an idea to actual launch, it is kind of scary, and sometimes people do dismiss you because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, everybody wants to start a business, but sometimes people um, are probably like time wasters. So I felt like some of the other places had made me feel like I was a time waster, but I just wanted to know and understand certain things. And 21st Century were great because they answered my questions. They sent me the emails, as follow ups. They told me all about the boot camps, and they helped me feel like I was making a great decision. And that's so important to have that sort of encouragement, for lack of a better word, because you are kind of scared, and sometimes, yes, it's not such a great idea. Sometimes you're in over your head, but you do need that encouragement. You do need that kind of cheerleader sort of thing. Oh, you've made a great decision. Oh, you can do it. And it was all about come to telling me everything that I needed to do. And when you start getting emails um, of actually taking action, right? Fill in a form, pay for this, pay for that. You really feel that journey has started. And that was what got it for me, because they made me feel like my journey has started. I am going to a boot camp. I am going to spend almost a whole week learning and with other like-minded people. So it pushed me to where I wanted to be. So sort of from like just a business plan to actually getting stuff done, starting to get stuff done.
So you felt like they helped you make it real?
Yes, it became real and it became exciting, and it became, I got this feeling that I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And that's so important. I think that's one of the things about those of us who are entrepreneurs. We have the benefits of being able to call our own shots to a large degree and follow our passions and our dreams, but at the same time, we also give up some of the traditional structures and guardrails, if you will, that can help alleviate some of the insecure feelings in the very beginning of starting a business. and having a community of like-minded people, such as the folks that you initially got to meet at the boot camp, and then also to have somebody that if you call and pick up the phone and say, hey, just remind me that this is going to actually work, having somebody at 21st who could do that for you, it sounds like that really helped.
It does really help because entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time thinking, and you could be in paralysis analysis, is that what most people call
Yes,
it? And
right.
never really take action because you want everything to be perfect and everything. But you also don't know, like you said, what you don't know. So some of that, uh, some of that training and help that I got from 21st Century brought with it a lot of structure. So, brought the policies and procedures, and it brought the somebody to ask questions, the questions you needed to ask when you didn't understand something. And mind you, you will always ask silly questions. And I had somebody on the other end of the phone who would answer my silly questions. I know they're silly now, but then they were important to me.
Well, and the old saying that there's no bad question unless it's a question that's not even asked. So having a place that you can turn to get information and be point specific to what it is that you needed to know, that's really critical because some of these things are time sensitive, I would imagine.
Hmm. They are. They are time sensitive, and you know, you want to you want to do the right thing, right? Because these are people's lives. You don't want to just be a business that's making money. You want to be a business that makes a difference, that connects with um, the families that you serve. So that is so important. So not having to worry about doing some of the other things that I needed to do from scratch, like getting the policies and procedures and saying, oh no, this is my job description. Oh, this is going to be my policy for this, and this is the procedure for getting this done, and this is how I need to set up my office, and this is where I need this is the form I need to fill in order to get this done. Those are the little things I probably didn't think about in the beginning, but because it came with the packet, it really helped.
What strategy have you used at Purple Nurse Home Care that's really made a difference in terms of you being able to move your business forward? What would be one of the key strategies that has worked best for you?
Well, I think it's also to do very much with my background. One of the most fascinating experiences of my life was working as a sales and marketing manager for British Airways. And so being part of a global brand and a global rebranding effort with them led to me understanding branding and marketing. And I used to go to in London, British Airways uses the marketing powerhouse Saatchi and Saatchi, and their client portfolio, as you may know, is industry giants like Toyota, Lexus, Procter and Gamble, General Mills. So I spend a lot of time at their offices in London, learning different strategies on how to elevate a brand and give it appeal in the marketplace. So that experience gave me insights into branding and marketing that continue to influence how I approach business today. So that really helped me. Um, I didn't go into the marketplace without the marketing material I need. I went to job fairs where I it was all about branding. I made sure that even if I gave a client a toothbrush, it was branded with Purple Nurse. So, everything that I did, I made sure it was branded. And what does that mean? That actually means you're buying trust from the mind of the customer. And that's what I did. So even the policies and procedures and all the documentation that I did that came from 21st Century, that's one of the things they told us, how important it was to make sure that our logo was on there and everything. And all the flyers, all the, contracts and agreements,
Mm-hmm.
anything, even, just to hand out to the client, really spoke to me being professional. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so important because these are people's loved ones. They want to believe and know that the people they are, trusting with their loved one is um, reputable,
Mm-hmm.
professional, and will do the right thing.
So your branding, in essence, signifies your identity as a not just
Yes.
as a business, but also what you stand for in a more philosophical sense. You're professional, you're skilled, you're trustworthy, and these logos, these icons, whether it's a font, a color, and some people don't put a lot of time into developing their brand, but I think that since you brought it up, I think it's important to note that that can be extremely helpful, one of our strongest assets in terms of being identifiable in the marketplace.
Yes, that's very true because you sometimes what happens is somebody opens a home care agency and they have the name of ABC, whatever, John Doe Agency at gmail.com. I, as a customer, don't feel confidence that you didn't even want to pay for, you know, your own .com. You're using a gmail.com email, and
Right.
it's little things like that that start making you think, are they legit? Will they really take good care of, So people, I always tell people, if you don't have some sort of marketing strategy, some sort of way to present yourself in the marketplace. That at that time, I was focused on private duty clients. Private clients want to know why they're paying a little bit more for an agency and not going online to care.com and employing their own caregiver.
No, that's a very good point. And it is at the bottom of it all. I know from personal experience, I've shared this with other guests as well, but my husband and I took care of my father, my elderly father, for 2 or 3 years so that he was able to continue to stay at home with the family and we could be in charge of his care. But it was absolutely critical to us. We vetted the people that came into our home, and those that did not feel professional, skilled, trustworthy, we just skipped the list and went on down to the next one. So
Yes. Oh,
that's
yeah.
obviously very important. Gertrude, I wish so much that we had more time, and I hope that maybe you might come back again because I'd like for you to be able to speak to some of the specifics, the specific hurdles that you faced, as well as what was able to get you up and going again in those times when you were thinking, I wonder if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I've got the chops to actually get this job going or this business going. And to be able to speak to the people that are thinking to themselves, I wonder if I could do what Gertrude's done. I wonder if I could do what some of these other agencies have done. And not just, well, the bottom line obviously is important to everybody, but it's the heart of the mission. And that is going to be what I think carries most of us. Hopefully we can afford to keep the lights on in the process, but it's got to be what it is that motivates you to do the work that you're doing, because this is very specific care. This is a very
Yes.
specific role in our, not just our communities, but in our world, is to take care of one another.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I hope that you'll come back. I'd love to be able to continue our conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are most welcome. Thank you for your time, and thank you to our listeners and our audience today. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to someone who's actually started an agency in the weeds. She had a vision, she had a purpose, she had a cheerleading squad. 21st Century Healthcare Consultants came alongside and was able to get her through a lot of the regulatory exercises and compliance issues and licensing and policies and procedures and so on and so forth. And so it made a difference in for Gertrude to be able to get her business up and running, and not just up and running, but steady growth and a success story as well. So thanks for joining us. I'm Kate Rose. It's been a pleasure to be your host today at Home Care Today. Take good care, and we'll see you next time.